Okay, so today's happy fun time involves changing out the fluid on the transmission. This is a 2013 diesel 6.7 liter Power Stroke with the Torque Shift 6 from Ford Motor Company. So I know that there's 1,000 of these videos out there. This one is different though because it features my truck. And my brother asked me to record this stuff as I go through it, and so I'm going to go ahead and do that. First thing we'll be doing is putting, I believe, a 13 mil on here, popping this plug off of here, draining it, and then we'll go through on these tiny little guys. Looks like maybe a 8 or a 9 mil. I'll verify that as I get to it, but I'll pull all of these around here and leave some of them from about probably here to the end attached, and just back them out at different levels here, so that way this whole pan will tip toward the rear and it will dump all of its fluid, hopefully in one location for a little while before I need to go ahead and pull everything out. So the goal is lose as little fluid as possible other than into the pan that I will have underneath here. So we'll go ahead and get started, and this is just going to be a quick one. I'll show the various steps and skip all the time that happens between them. Okay, so verified, this is a 13 mil, but these guys here, these are 8 mils. These are just tiny little buggers. There's lots of them, but they're not very big. So I have my 8 mil set. I have my 13 mil set. Let's loosen. There we go. It's gonna be simple, 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 hopefully. This stuff is running pretty dark, but it does not look bad. Not bad at all. Maybe 40,000. Just relaxing miles on it. I don't know for sure, but not knowing the full history of it, I definitely want to sort of reset the clock on it so that I do know how long it's been since the last fill. The good news is nice and red though. That's always positive. Bad news is that there's a lot of fluid in here and I am filling up this pan, so I need to plug it up and empty. Whoa, hello. Love your enthusiasm. Don't like your cuddliness. All right. Not going to be able to get those this way. This will be halfway out. Okay. Ooh, I'm not going to be able to get those on there. It's right underneath the cross member right here, so I need something that's real shallow, and this is just not cutting it. So I will put this back in. Tighten that down. I came prepared. I will just put this little 8mm on here. And I will turn it out by hand. Of course, this is the only one that I've come across that doesn't actually want to spin by hand. There we go. One. There she goes. Now she's starting to drip a little bit. That's 2. And oh, perfect. Go ahead and turn this one out. And that is as low as it is going to go, because it is touching the cross member at this point. So I'll just go ahead and take these guys out. Let it drip for a little while. It looks like it's pretty much quit dripping. Just let it drain the rest of the way out of the pan. It's also draining out of the filter, so I'm going to leave the pan here to give it something to direct it into the dish. Because unfortunately I don't have a dish that's really big enough to deal with this thing in its entirety. I mean, that thing is clean. Looks really good. It's weird though that it doesn't have any magnets in the bottom of it. This is the first time I've ever pulled apart this particular transmission, but I know other transmissions that I pulled apart, especially modern ones, tend to have big magnets that are just stuck to the bottom of the tray. That way they grab and hold any metal material that gets down in there. I will go ahead and pull the gasket off of here. I have a new gasket. Thankfully these things are not under a lot of pressure in the tray here. It's just gravity fed. So now I need to get this little guy out, and that looks bigger than the other bolts. It might not be. Here's a 9. I was testing that and it does not fit, so it must still be an 8. Probably just has a little bit of fluid on it. It makes it look bigger than it is. Okay, so here's one. It's this long. I don't know whether or not they're all the same length, but here's the second one. It's that long. It is longer than the first one, see? So the long one goes over here. So far, I don't know, maybe there's 2 long ones and a short one. Okay, this is the last one here. Nope, that's another short one. So 2 short ones and a long one. The long one goes on the end with the intake tube. Let me move this down here because I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose fluid again. ones up here pretty much stopped. These other ones are just drippy, drip, 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 drippy. Okay. Now, take my new one, which is identical to the old one. This is a Motorcraft, so a Ford OEM filter, which apparently is good enough that everyone says use the Motorcraft. Put it back up. Long bolt in first, just so that it's counterbalancing the one on the other side. So that I make sure that they have the right feel to them. Good. 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 Run my towel over this one more time. Make sure that I dried off all those surfaces. Now I'll go clean up the pan. Then we'll get this thing put back together. Okay. So this does have a magnet, a really cool magnet actually. It's a round donut shaped guy, and it goes right there, right around the drain plug. So I was looking for it down here in the bottom of the pan, but it's right here around the drain plug. And in order to clean it completely, you have to yank it out of there, which isn't easy when it's all covered with tiny little metal shavings and oil. But if you just take a little screwdriver and just slip it right between there, it's held up a little bit off the bottom. You can just easily pry it right off. But once you clean it up, it's pretty simple to pull it all out with your hand. So cool, I like that design. I got this kit from Doc's Diesel, and this definitely is a different design of a gasket than the original. The original had, I don't know if it was the original, gosh I hope it wasn't the original, had a metal, definitely had a metal armature inside it, and this does not have any metal. Not sure that I like that. Do like that I'm putting a new gasket on it, don't like that it's kind of difficult to get it to go where I want it to go. So I have to make sure that the gasket is in the right spot. Take a chance that I'm gonna get drift on here. Hoping that everything's still lined up, which of course it's not. So it looks like this long side, which did not want to line up properly as I go. I just took the end of these guys. Just kind of has a little point on it for alignment. Just reach in there and push the gasket into the right spot. Make sure that it's going through it and not next to it. It works pretty well. I have 3 more. Oof, that was a bunch of them. All right, start with this guy. Just zip them all back in here real quick. Back and forth. Now I can just go up the side. Okay, those are in. Check them. This guy here. Okay, I think those are all good. Now I just have these guys in the back. Hopefully I can tighten them a little bit with my hands before I have to resort to this wrench. I should do it. We'll check for leaks once we fill it up with fluid. But this is tight. All of these are tight. And now we just need to go up top and fill her back up again. Alrighty, so now it's just a matter of filling it back up again. This is the dipstick, and it is also the fill port. So I'm just going to pull the dipstick out and set it over here. And then the tricky part is that it kind of comes out at to the side, and this is not really going to be a good way to fill it up. I wish it was, so that I could just have it sitting up here, but I don't think it's going to work. This tube, on the other hand, will go down in here. That way I can pretty much guarantee no spill back, but I need to have it in an upright position so that I can fill it up. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to zip tie it to the hood latch. I'll put the hood up all the way, and that way I can just pour it into here and just have it flow right down in there. It's not a very big funnel, but I'll make it work. Okay. That's right here. Just zip tie this little puppy right on here. Hopefully that'll work. 2 gallons. That's how much I emptied, and that's how much I'm putting back in here. At least initially. Oh, it's bright red. Alright, just set that there. One down, 1 to go. so I'm supposed to check this when it's hot. So I am going to go ahead and fire the truck up, let it warm up, check for any leaks, and then we'll check the transmission dipstick. Just leave that there for now until I have verified that I do not need to add any more fluid. I'll just check it real quick to see where it's at when it's cold. And it is well over the fill mark there. Oh, well, it might just be because the whole tube is full of fluid, so wipe it down one more time, stick it back in there. But I think it's going to be a full because it hasn't pulled it back up through the filter and everything yet. And then I will go ahead and go fire it up and let it warm up. Okay, I've let this thing run for 10 minutes. It should be relatively warm. And I'm going to go ahead and run the transmission through each one of the gears for about, 5 seconds each. And then put it back in park. And then I'll come here and check this. Pull this out. Off. That is a little bit below the add mark. I had to tell the truth on that. So I'm going to go ahead and add another quart, see what effect that has. Looks like it might be just above the full mark at this point, so it's a pretty sensitive full mark, honestly. I'm going to go ahead and call this good and shut her down.